So today I'm trying to show a film that is very, very important to me, that really personifies my taste. This film I showed to future dates on my first date. If they don't like it, I can never go out with them again, really. It's the best failed art movie ever. It's called Boom. It's a ridiculously retitled Tennessee Williams play, The Milk Train Doesn't Stop Here Anymore. It stars Elizabeth Taylor as Sissy Goforth, the richest woman in the world. It is the ultimate drag queen role. Rupert Everett even did it on the stage in London a few years ago and played the same part. I can never forgive my parents. It was a play, and it came to Baltimore when I was 12, and it starred then Tallulah Bankhead and Tab Hunter. And my parents didn't take me to see it, which I think is child abuse, basically. It also stars Richard Burton as the Angel of Death, who has the unfortunate habit of calling on wealthy women the day before The Undertaker. It was directed by Joseph Losey, a director I like very much, that if I ever had to get a director tattooed on, I think it would be Joseph Losey. And I like his failed art films the best. Failed art films seem to be a genre today that we don't see anymore, because now the independent film in America takes all the screens for all the foreign films that we used to see, so we don't get to see as many failed art films. This is probably the biggest audience this film has ever had. It was a huge flop when it first came out. It just was released on video for the first time. It's already out of print. It was in print for about 5 minutes. There used to be only one print of it in the world, and I used to tour with this movie to film festivals and present it. It was a giant flop when it came out. They had it called Boom, and then it didn't work, so they retitled it Boom with an exclamation point, which is the most pitiful marketing I ever saw in my life. You know, Joseph Losey bragged that he was the first director to ever lose money with Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton with this film. And he talked about in his book how every day on the set they started off with Bloody Marys. So basically they all made this film drunk. I think that is one of the reasons. But Elizabeth Taylor's performance is staggering in it. Just watch her performance, and it really influenced the Divine and I. We used to watch this all the time when we were young. And I finally met Elizabeth Taylor. I went to her house to a cookout. And I think I was invited because her staff, she has an all-gay staff, and they like my work. I think that's why I got invited. So I walked in and I said to Elizabeth Taylor, "Oh, I love Boom." And she said, "That's a terrible film." She got really angry at me and thought I was insulting her, which I really got upset. I thought she was going to throw me out. And she looked like Divine, kind of, you know. And I don't mean that badly, because Elizabeth Taylor was Divine's idol. I mean, Divine even smoked Salem cigarettes because Divine smoked them. Noel Coward is also in this. He plays the Witch of Capri in a staggering scene. You'll see where he has a dinner of sea monster with Elizabeth Taylor, a lunch. And they asked Katharine Hepburn to play the part, and she turned it down, insulted to have been asked. I love that. The sets are amazing. The art direction of this movie, it suddenly caught on. There was an article in the New York Times about 6 months ago saying how this is the art film that everybody from Vogue is getting in there. Suddenly this is caught on, how Anna Wintour watches it every day and everything, which really made me angry, because I've loved this movie for years and everybody else hated it. But the production designer is a guy named Richard McDonald. And the villa that you'll see in this movie, which is amazing, was built in where was it built? In Sicily. But it had no roof, no plumbing or anything, and Elizabeth Taylor and Richard Burton wanted to buy it anyway, and they kept saying, "But it's not a house." I guess they were drunk. You know, they just wanted to live in this set, and the set is really great. The costumes are mind-boggling, and they're by someone I've never heard of, Tiziani of Rome. That's his name, which is a pretty great name for a designer, I think. And I don't know about the rest of Tiziani of Zane's really career. I've been trying to find out about it, so if you know everything about it, I'd love to.
I think they are a costume house rather
They
than...
are?
I think they're a costume house.
So it was just
rather
like...
than Mr. Tiziani.
Oh, I'm so disappointed. I mean, because she wears a kabuki outfit in this that you won't believe. You won't believe. You know, it's truly staggering. But you know, Tennessee Williams loved this movie, and in his book, he said it was the only movie that was ever made of his work that really captured it. So I think Tennessee Williams meant this to be funny, and I think maybe in the very end we will see that Tennessee Williams was right. That of all the films they made of his work, this may be the best one. So afterwards, I'd like to talk about it and hear what you have to say. And a lot of you that weren't in the other classes, if you want to talk about anything about my own work, I just can't bring it up for the third day in a row. So if you want to talk about it, I'll be happy to. But let's watch Boom, because you can see how this influenced my aesthetics, my Filth 101, really. Because it is the most ludicrous Tennessee Williams play you've ever seen in your life. I hope you feel the same way. Okay. I mean, does it remind you of any other movie?
Yeah, YT, Warhol.
Which one?
Zardos, the Sean Connery film, about 1974, about the same period.
Really?
The whole other ones, VIPs as well.
Oh, the VIPs, yeah. And Contempt. Well, yes, Contempt, which is a great, great movie. But this Contempt was, you know, sort of, well, Contempt was badly received when it came out too, I think. In America it was. This was universally panned. I mean, it got, you know, the most howlingly bad reviews, right? Until recently. And, but you just, Elizabeth Taylor's performance is amazing, because no one ever said, you might want to bring it down a little. And she was encouraged to chew the scenery, I think, in it. And Divine and I used to watch this movie, and there was part of Pink Flamingos, part of the plot that was cut out, that was, you can see it at the end of the new footage, is when Divine is writing her memoirs as the filthiest person alive, alone in the trailer. So that's certainly where that came from, because I saw this probably right before we made Pink Flamingos. So it was this movie and the drive-in movies and all this kind of movies put together that were universally hated at the time that I was trying to celebrate, and and put it together with these really bad art films that, you know, I mean, this movie has great shots in it and everything. I mean, there's some really good, that house is so amazing, like the windows and the sculpture. It looks like the very most atrocious house in Los Angeles today. You know, I've been in many houses in LA that look like that. Does anybody else have anything to say about this work?
Too many midgets in the movie.
Well, yeah, it's politically correct too. She has midgets, and then that really misogynist scene about women and their periods that Noel Coward says about like smelling the fish. I couldn't believe that. I didn't even hear that the first time. You know, when you watch it, you think they couldn't have just said that, you know, but they did. And imagine Katharine Hepburn in that part. That's who was offered that part, and she's turned it down. And, you know, furious. And you can see they even serve her a Bloody Mary in one scene in it. You know, so they may have been drunk during the making of it, which could explain some of the excess and the pacing.
He's in that thing with a huge chair and all those bottles. I just assumed it was all vodka.
Well, I don't know. I mean, but the art design was like Easter Island. It is really amazing.
You actually see a cameraman in one of the shots as well.
You see what?
On the boat, you actually see the other cameraman.
Do you?
On the front of the boat.
You mean the very beginning when they're...
When he's arriving, you actually see from the shot where he goes, the boatman says something really profound. When he's just throwing the things off and Richard Burton, you see the camera behind him.
Doing the other angle, right. And when they dubbed in her voice saying, boom, you couldn't believe that.